Hello everyone. It's James again. And today I want to talking about narcissism. And how certain people just hate the truth. And how sadly there's nothing you can do about what these people think in many instances. And how this very problem is the reason why many victims stay silent regarding narcissistic abuse. Now this comment I'm going to talk about. I'm only going to talk about because I think it illustrates this point correctly. And it's a comment on my last video. A video where I clearly mentioned both problems men and women face. But I did mention the differences. Based on how our society is set up. And I think all of you that have eyes to see and ears to hear can see and notice these differences in your day-to-day lives. And talking about these differences doesn't shortchange a man. Nor does it shortchange the woman in these types of discussions. It actually helps both parties to see what is really going on around them in the chaotic world we are living in. But someone says they are unsubscribing to my channel because they feel that I'm being sexist and misogynistic. And if I were to take such a comment seriously, that would make me afraid to talk about the many aspects of narcissistic abuse. Especially those of which I'm familiar. Because anyone that watched this and my other videos can see there's nothing sexist nor misogynistic about anything I talk about. To the contrary, it's to help open the eyes of both men and women, so they can have better relationships with each other. But when you can't talk about such things openly and honestly, the very dysfunctional dynamics we see today will only get worse. And when we can't talk about such things openly and honestly, people sit in narcissistically abusive homes. The fact is this. No matter what parent you are talking about, it's pretty much a bad thing to say you don't have a relationship with your parents because healthy people just don't understand that. But, let's also be real. Society has beaten down men so bad with so many negative terms to describe all men unfairly. There are certain instances saying you don't have a relationship with your father is acceptable. Not ideal but acceptable. However, if you say one ill thing against your mother or grandmother, then you are the worst of the worst. Now there are many instances where narcissist fathers will make themselves out to be father of the year, when they are really narcissist of the year. And they will put on a fake show in front of those the victim child knows. So when this child or at some point adult says, "I don't talk to my father anymore," these same people will think he or she is the worst person walking for not talking to their father. The point of all of this is, you aren't to question why or how. You are to just let the abuse happen. And that's where I say no more. Narcissist parents have for a long time hid behind being a parent to do their dirt and not be held accountable. And sadly, with the rise of the thought that women can do no wrong in our society, and all men are evil, talking about a mother or mother figure in your life carries an even stiffer societal penalty. And because of this penalty, millions grow up in such homes without a voice. And I'm sorry. I and a lot of people are talking. Actually, I'm not sorry. But you know what I mean. But it's this kind of shaming tactic that many use to shut you up. So those that don't know about narcissistic abuse will never find out about it. Talking about narcissism and narcissistic abuse in its rawest, ugliest forms is important. Because it allows the abuse survivor or victim the ability to connect to what is being said. And to be able to know they aren't alone. And for them to validate why they are feeling what they are feeling. It's needed and it's important. Now, do I know I care about both men and women? Yes. I do know that about myself. That's why I do the work that I do. And a comment like that won't make me second guess that. But comments like that either are coming from a place of denial on part of the person making them, or wanting to throw someone like me off of my course. In hopes I don't talk too much truth about certain topics. And again, that's the thing narcissists thrive on. the truth not being known about the abuse they do to others, both male and female. And narcissists, despite gender, will use whatever, and I do mean whatever, advantage they have to get over on you and you and you. And if they can use the fact that they are a woman, and no one will look twice at them, because they are supposed to be more loving, blah 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 blah, they will do it in a heartbeat. And what I and others are talking about is, why don't we say, hey, humans do bad things, both men and women. This thing about women love more deeper, and men are less emotional is a bunch of garbage. It's a bunch of garbage to ruin your minds and healthy relationships once you are lucky to find one. There are think tanks set up right now, designed to teach you how to think and what to think. And they are good at what they do. That's right. And one of those things they teach you how to do is how to throw away your relationships. Both men and women playing their roles. Oh, you think the Adam and Eve story just stopped? These evil devils know what they are doing. Because even if a woman isn't a narcissist, and she's a good woman, and she's with a man that is a good man, they know how to put so much mess in her head. Just like what was done to Eve in the garden when Lucifer got a hold of her. Because those that work in these think tanks know. Just like Adam. Even if the woman is directed in the wrong way by an outside force, the man in her life, much like Adam, won't want to lose his woman and will go down that terrible road even though he knows it's wrong. Telling your daughters to not listen to the mess that is put in their heads. And telling your sons to walk away from any woman. And I do mean any woman trying to lead him astray or in an area that's wrong, is not only right, but it's loving them to the utmost you can love someone. This is a spiritual war, people. It's a spiritual war. I mean, look around you. It's getting worse and worse every day. And when you talk about the obvious, someone has a name to call you, instead of admitting what is right. Because again, either it's coming from a place of denial, or it's coming from a place of they just want to shame you into shutting up. Either way, if they are successful, the truth doesn't get out. And when the truth doesn't get out, narcissistic abuse keeps on happening. And who wins? The narcissist. They are getting all of their narcissistic supply they want. Now, I'm sorry, these think tanks all across the world have targeted women in the worst kinds of ways with majority of the consumerism. With all the mess they put on television. Instead of telling them, hey, all of these things out there won't buy you love. But not talking about it won't make it go away. And it's a major factor in why relationships today just don't work. Yes. I know. There are many men that are at fault. But what we are talking about here is good man, good woman. Both with faults. But both that so-called love each other. Now the reason why most couples like this don't have a chance of making it is money. Have you heard that most relationships end over money? Well, they are right. And usually it happens when the man loses his job. I'm not making this up. Go and research some of this. Now, as I pointed out before, there are many, and I do mean many, people pleaser women out there that get sucked in by male narcissists, that use these poor women until they have no more to give. And then these men are gone like the wind. And it's terrible, terrible, terrible. But sadly, when a woman does this very thing to a man, it's expected and seen as normal. And I ask you, is this the world you want your sons to grow up in? To be seen as a mule? Is that what you want? Because even though you have a good man and good woman paired up, and they have the best of intentions, with all the snares the devil has put in front of this woman, to tell her over and over again, she can have more, she can do better, or when her man loses his job, instead of to be a helpmate through thick and thin, the devil tells her to leave her for another man. Now, does the devil tell the man equally bad things? Yes. But why do we as a society pretend one is acceptable and the other is not, when both messages are coming from the devil? The reason is they don't want you to be together. Don't you get it? They are destroying you. They are destroying you. They know when you have a family it's almost impossible to beat you. But when you are alone twisting in the wind, you are easy pickings. So speak the truth about narcissistic abuse. And don't let someone say something to you that will throw you off your course. Because the more the truth is spoken, to both men and women, the more we will be able to unwind the toxic yarn that has been spun around our lives. Because this thing is much bigger than the home you or I was raised in. This problem goes all the way to the top of the pyramid. Something to think about. And I will leave 2 links in the description box below, of 2 videos I made on shaming and blaming several years back. I think they are helpful for anyone who wants to understand this tactic that is used to silence the truth. The truth about narcissistic abuse. Well, that's all I have for now. I want to thank everyone for your support. I really do appreciate it a lot. I'm working hard to make the best content I can, so more eyes will open, and more people can get out of this mess we call narcissistic abuse. With that said, let's keep on praying for wisdom. Let's keep praying for strength. And let's keep praying for courage. And as always, bye for now. And be good to yourself.